Hi everybody, Laura here for Simon Says Stamp. Thank you so much for joining me today. I've got a colorful little Easter card to share with you featuring the Wavy Egg Die by Simon Says Stamp. But before I get to the card, got to show you this new little treasure. It's called the Wendy Vecchi Make Art Station. It's magnetic. It's got these little magnets. It even has a magnetic ruler that's bendy, but you can slap it down wherever you need it, line it up to line up whatever you need to line up. And then what's cool is I trimmed a piece of the Tim Holtz Ranger craft mat, trimmed it to 9x9, and it fits like it was meant to be on this little mat, and I hold it down the corners with the magnets. So here's the wavy egg die. I cut some little panels to fit perfectly for the wavy egg that I'm going to die cut. But before I die cut, gonna do a little ink blending for some color, and I picked some springy Eastery colors, starting with did I say these are Distress Oxide inks, Worn Lipstick and Spice Marmalade, and I go back and forth between the two to get a nice seamless blend, and I make believe that I'm Christina Werner. Have you seen her Distress Oxide mini series where she blended like every color of Distress Oxide and made the most amazing combinations? And her blending, forget about it. It was outrageous. Okay, so this one here is squeezed lemonade and a little twisted citron. And I got to say, like, I go through stages, and for a long time, I only ink blended on paper. It's like I just felt like I liked to blend on paper. But today, since I had the magnets and I was getting all excited and did the craft mat, tell you what, ink blending on the craft mat, smooth as a whistle. Is a whistle even smooth? I don't know what's smooth. I don't have a saying in my mind for smooth. Anyway, I'm moving on to the next panel. Cracked Pistachio and Mermaid Lagoon, which are divine together, just divine. So when I got through with these, and I was sitting there admiring them, and I thought, it just needs a little something more. So for the green, I added just a smidge of crushed olive. On the blue, I added just a touch of Blueprint Sketch. And on the pink one, I added just a hint of picked raspberry. And it just bumped up that vibrancy, that contrast, just a little bit. Just a little dabble do you. Now, not that you got to do this part, but I was feeling it in my gut, flicking on some flicks of water. I just used my Distress nozzle hose, but you could use a paintbrush. You could even use your hair, flick it in some water and flick it on. No, I wouldn't recommend that, but it's just an idea. If you don't have the tools, make do. Now I'm going to run each of these little panels with the wavy egg die. Before I take it off, I put Post-it tape on the back, and that holds it all together. And I'll die cut each one of the panels. Now I have a white card base, and I'm going to pop up each one of these eggs. And here's how I do it. So I'm going to take some more Post-it tape, and I put it on the front of the ink blended panel. Flip it over, take off the Post-it tape that was on the back. Yes, this is a little trick of the trade. And then once I remove that, since it's all held together on the front, I'm going to trim some little strips, little slivers of foam tape, and I'm going to put a piece on each one of the wavy egg parts. And I'm not being like too careful. You don't need to cover the entire back. Just a little bit of foam tape, just a little dab, and then I take off that backing, flip it over, line it up. I'm going to put this one right in the middle, press it down, take off that Post-it tape, and this is magical. Okay, look at this. Bada boom. I mean, really. Can you even? And then now I'm doing this again. Post-it tape on the front, flip it over, peel off the Post-it tape on the back. And then you trim some slivers of foam tape, all on the wavy parts. Peel off the backing. This part, I'm just eyeballing the spacing. Just pure eyeballing it. But look at, bada boom. Okay, third one. Post-it tape on the front. Holds it together. Flip it over, peel off the backing. Again with the foam tape slivers. Getting ready to just eyeball this third one, and I hope and pray that I spaced it correctly and it's good enough. I mean, it's good enough for me. I love how this looks on a clean white card base, but what happened was I changed my mind. Okay, all my cards are like an evolution. So I decided to trim this little panel, this egg panel down, and I'm going to pop up this white strip onto an ivory card base, just for a little more contrast. But before I do that, I'm going to emboss a sentiment, this Happy Easter sentiment from the Dog and Cat Dress Up stamp set by Simon Says Stamps. So I'm embossing it in white onto a strip of black cardstock, and I rubbed it down with the magic powder bag, ink it up with Versamark ink, and I stamp it twice. A lot of times when I emboss, I like to stamp twice, just to make sure I get really good coverage with that Versamark ink, so you get a nice, embossing image. Heat that with the heat gun, and then I'll take one of the sentiment label dies and die cut that sentiment. Off camera, run it through the Gemini Junior, and there you have it. I'll trim that down. Foam tape on the eggs, popping it up on the ivory card base, popping up the sentiment, and this card is finished. That's all there is. Clean and simple, colorful, Easter magic dimension with the wavy egg dies. I'm telling you, I love it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.